Hola, another day, another dollar. Welcome to Carnage Unleashed. How you guys doing today?
Can't complain. Staying warm so far. It's getting pretty cold here in Northwest Ohio for any of our out-of-state viewers. It was 0 degrees outside when I showed up to Air Force stuff yesterday, so that was just not. It was not ideal. Not
No,
great.
not fun.
What about you, Kev? I bet you do. I bet you understand more than anybody else in here.
It's a balmy 12 degrees in Columbus these days, so we're feeling it pretty good. I've got a nice icicle, from the roof down to the ground. It's real fun to look at. But hey, we're not that far away from the spring, and pretty soon I'll take it now because in about a month, the four of us are going to be on the road a ton. So I'll take it now rather than next month. So what about you, Zach?
I'm just trying to stay warm. I mean, God, I work outside for a part of my day. So most of the time you can see me all bundled up in my overalls and my Carhartt, walking around like this with my whatever you want to call it, hat from the Russians, that come up here. Oh yeah, I don't care. You can make fun. They make fun of me where I go up and I fuel and stuff. They make fun of me. I'm like, I don't care. I'm staying warm. You get to stay in your vehicles, whether heat's blowing on you. You can make fun of me all you want. I don't really care. I'm going to stay warm.
Yeah, as long as I'm warm.
My worst is my fingers. My fingers, they freeze way too quickly. So I got to stay warm.
Well, I work in the office and I deal with the opposite. They just try to bake me, so they put space heaters on space heaters, and it's like 80 degrees in there, and I'm like, all right.
This is so miserable.
My forearm started sweating one time. I'm like, come on, guys, we gotta do something.
I like it warm, but not that warm. All right.
I hear you. But we had some good fights this weekend.
We did.
I beg to defer. I beg to defer. Gentlemen, consider this my resignation. I owe Angela Hill and Jared Cannonier a major apology.
Yeah. Wasn't it Kevin? Wasn't it Kevin that goes, I'm taking the 40-year-olds, I'm taking them all. We're going.
Went 2 for 2.
Yeah, seriously.
Did you bet on those, Kevin? I wish you did.
No, I didn't have the courage to put any money down.
Maybe you start feeling more confident in yourself now.
That's true.
My cousin and I were at a bar up in BG watching the fights, and we bet a shot on the main event, so I had to buy him a shot. But
yeah,
happens. But might as well start with the main event, right? Jared Cannonier walked away with a W over Gregory Rodrigues. He kind of dominated the whole time too.
It was a little bit of a roller coaster though, because he got
rocked at once, didn't he? Didn't he get rocked once?
Did he get knocked down?
Yeah, he got knocked down once.
Knocked down, maybe not rocked. Okay,
twice.
Yeah, you're right. And because it was in the beginning, like
it was early,
first round. It was like early first round, and I'm like, oh well, there he goes. I picked him. I'm like, dang it, the 140-year-old I pick is gonna lose, and then all of a sudden he came back and just.
They each had 2 knockdowns, each of them, and I mean they're pretty even when it came to the strikes too. You know what I mean? Jared had what? He was 109 of 215, and Gregory was 95 of 225. So it's not like they were all that far off,
right?
In their strikes and in their significant strikes as well. I mean, again, Jared landed 98 of his 201, and Gregory landed 93 of his 221. So
I think Gregory Rodrigues just kind of fell off there with his stamina, and then
you could really see it in round 3 is when you could kind of see Cannonier start to take over. Really started to piece him up, and then 20 seconds into round 4, put him out. Great win. The question, gentlemen, is where does Jared Cannonier go? Like, you know what I mean? He's fought, I think, pretty much everybody above him. So he's either going to need to start fighting down. Like, I could see him fighting like a Rainier de Ritter type character or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's got to prove himself that he's up there at the top.
Yeah.
He's at that point.
Yeah, I agree. He's going to have to fight a little bit down until he has some good.
So you think he's in Strickland, like where Strickland is then?
Yeah, but the advantage Sean is he's not 40.
Well, that's true. I mean, he's got some time to.
He's got a little time. He's got some time to prove himself, but there's a lot of drama going on in his camp right now too. So I would almost argue Jared Cannonier's in a better spot then.
Right? Yeah.
Almost. Yeah, ugly place to be for him.
Yeah.
But
I was entertained. It was it
was a great fight. So. Very, very pleased with how this card turned out overall. Co-main Calvin Kattar ended up dropping a decision to Youssef Zalal, the Moroccan Devil.
Unanimous at that.
What?
I said unanimous at that as well.
Yeah. I think Jared still in the main event. I think Calvin Kattar probably won the third round, but I think it was pretty straightforward in the first two.
Yeah.
Pretty dominant in the first two, and either way for the third, but
yeah,
the right person won that one.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, he outpunched him. I mean, both of them threw total strikes 134. Calvin only landed 38, while was it? How do you pronounce his name?
Youssef Zalal.
We'll go with Zalal. And Zalal landed 75 of his 134. So
134 is that's such a funny thing to have happen in a fight, right? Like both of you throw the same amount of strikes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they almost had the exact same amount of significant strikes. Calvin had 134. I can't even remember. I've already lost it. He threw 133. So they're almost exactly the same amount punches thrown. It was just that Zalal landed way more, and that's exactly why he won the unanimous decision there.
I would agree 100%. Moving down the show, our boy Dylan did end up losing to Edmund Shabazian, first round knockout.
But he looked a lot better though.
Yeah, he did. He was moving around fine.
He was throwing his hands what I was expecting, him to start out in the UFC, because he's got some great hands. He's got some heavy hands, and I think the nerves got him in the beginning. And then this fight, he came out, he looked great, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be a great fight. But just got
that's what I was thinking too. He was moving around fine, threw a couple kicks early, and then just got caught. It happens in MMA, right?
Yep.
Yeah. He did it perfectly. I guess his coaches. Edmund's coaches have told him, slip and throw that overhand, and that's what he did. And landed him right perfectly right on the chin, and down went Dylan, and he just covered him. So, yeah, it happens.
It does. Dylan has since been released from the UFC, but with that being said, there are already other promotions that have reached out to him and are talking to him. He's only 25. He's got plenty of time.
He actually hasn't announced who, but I saw on social media earlier today that he's signed a contract somewhere. Well, according to social media, so according to his Facebook page, he has signed a contract with somebody, and he's I think he said May was his next MMA fight. So
now where do you think he'd be best off then? What promotion do you think took him in? Do you think it's more of a LFA again, where is he going back to LFA, or is he stepping up and going to somewhere like PFL?
I would be tough to guess. I'm assuming it's probably back to something like the LFA, right? And he's going to have to get a couple more wins under his belt to get that UFC level opportunity again. So that would be my thought, because the other thing that I think a lot of fans recognize is that he had 3 pretty tough matchups, right? That that it might not take much for him to get back into the UFC. Just a couple of wins against the right people. And coming in, again, he's the kind of guy who will fill in. He'll step up for an injured fighter on a few days' notice and step up. That might have been part of what got him into this situation that he's in now was his willingness to fight anybody. I think a lot of people would say he did not have the ideal prospects path. Like, he had 3 very difficult fights right out of the rip, stepping into the UFC. Not a task that you would really wish on anyone. But I think that will help him make a case in the future, but I'm not sure. I mean, what do you guys think as far as that? Zach, do you think it's the PFL or something?
You know, I feel like if he went PFL, I don't know if I think that would be more of if he did go that route, like, he's going to be in there for a long period of time. So by going to an LFA, and you're not in a higher prestige promotion, but you've got that opportunity to easily jump back into the UFC if it calls to you, because it'd be a lot easier to get out of a LFA contract than it would be to get out of a PFL contract. I feel like, not saying it's not possible, just more difficult. And is a UFC really going to want to mess around with a lower fighter that hasn't proven themselves to be a champion? Because I feel like those are the only people the UFC is going to grab from the PFL are champions, people who have had the belt and are reigning champions, have been there for a long time, have proven they belong there, and they're like, okay, well, maybe it's time for you to jump on over. So, personally, I think for his career wise, I think it would be best for him to go down to a LFA instead of a PFL.
Yeah, I would second that. I think best for his career now is getting experience. He's been in there with some pretty tough guys that had a lot of experience and veterans in the game of the fighting world. So now I say, like, go down to LFA and capture a belt, dominate, and he proves himself, and he can have that choice of where he wants to go from there to, like, whether it's PFL or back to the UFC. I think the goal is always back to the UFC. It's the best promotion.
Now, if he is going to go
sorry, I just want to throw this in there. We should keep in mind he also mentioned he's moving to welterweight.
Yes.
He is.
Yep.
He said he's going to move down to welterweight, which I think would be great because he's going to be. I think he was a smaller 185. I mean, he was big, but I feel like he was smaller in the middleweight division compared to the other people that were dropping down. And 170, I feel like he could be a big guy, like a Tyron Woodley type.
My question is how? Because the UFC they went through all the biometrics or whatever it is that they go through and said that he couldn't make 170 because Dana White wanted him to do that in the first place.
Right.
Yes, now, but this is going to be like a long process. It's not going to be like a cut. So he's going to get a nutritionist probably.
He's got to cut muscle.
He's got to cut.
Yep.
And cut down.
He's going to have to cut muscle. So he's going to be walking more around like Gates instead of a little bit bulkier. Well, Gates is lengthy. I mean, he's a 12-foot lengthy guy.
I don't know if he'll be as skinny as Gates, but
no.
Well, but you know what you get what the reference thing.
He's going to be shredded because he probably walk around. He walks around probably 215, 220.
Well,
I think he gets down to walk around at 190. 195.
190 is still a tough cut, man.
I mean,
for him, I feel like personally, he's going to have to be walking around 185. I think with what he's going to be doing and the body style he's going to have, he is going to be cut, extremely cut if he does this properly. So it's going to be harder to shed all that stuff off. The cutter you are, the shredded you are, the harder it is to cut all the weight. That's just unfortunately how it is because there's not much to shred. I mean, you can't. What are you pulling off? Water weight? That's it at that point. You're not pulling out any fat. You're not doing any of that stuff. So, but kind of going back to what I was going to ask is if he does get an LFA, how many fights do you think he needs to have before he can start saying, hey, I want to go for the belt? I mean, he's coming down from the UFC, so that might have a little bit of say in it of like, hey, I deserve, a couple fights and then I should be in there. Or do you think it should be like, hey, if he goes in there, one fight, just destroys whoever he's fighting, he deserves it to be talked about? What do you guys think?
It depends on where he ends up. like you said, if he's in the LFA, realistically, I think he'll need at least 2 fights probably to get back into the title conversation. Unless he has some like slugfest war or gets like a really impressive finish early. I think it'll take him 2 fights. But gentlemen, I do not think Dylan signed with the LFA. I think that there's a new promotion we have here in Ohio. He mentioned his next fight is going to be in Ohio. That it's called American Fight Promotions. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but it's popped up. Their first show is this weekend down in Columbus. They have a show because his post said it's in May. Another post said it's in Ohio. They have a show May 17th up in Toledo.
Ooh.
So I think that's where he signed. Objectively speaking, I think that's where he is. That's
some good detective work there.
Maybe.
Got a big one here, boys. Big one.
Nice.
But if he did sign with like Cage Fury or the LFA, I think two wins or 1 really impressive finish, I think could do it for him.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think it's 2, maybe 3, but I think 2 is what starts the conversations. I think you're going to need more than 1, even though, again, there will be plenty of people with the 3 UFC fights that will be willing to give him some credit there. I think 2 just kind of solidifies the fact that he's back on the right path. I feel like 1 win, again, maybe, unless it's some awesome highlight reel thing, but even then I still feel like you would need 1 more to have that path open back up. But yeah, I'm gonna go with 2 wins. So probably right around the end of the year potentially would be, early next year is probably a realistic timeline.
Unless he just starts finishing people and just, hey, give me one a couple weeks down the road. Because, hey, that's how demolition normally is. They do that. If their guys are winning it quickly and they're not damaged, those boys are ready to fight. They're already in shape. They're like, hey, I'm in shape. Let's go. Give me another fight. I'm ready to jump on the next card if you got it in 2 months, or a month. You know what I mean?
No reason.
Well, and it helps that he, like we said before, he's the guy that if there's a late scratch into fight week, that say, hey, who's somebody we can call that we are pretty sure will sign a contract to come up here and fight on short notice. I think that will be another thing that gets him back in the door sooner than some other folks that may not be willing to do that. Although he may think differently. I don't know, but based on his career so far, he seems to be that he's willing to take those fights. I don't know if at a certain point coaches might say, hey, no, we're going to wait for our fight so we quit getting put in let's get into a situation that's advantageous for us when we go back in. Maybe they don't want to be going into a fight on 1 week notice and then getting punished again potentially for being willing to step up, because how you don't want to lose too many after a certain point. Despite how young and talented you are, you just may not get the call again. Right now, where he's at, plenty of time. What is he, 25? Still has a winning record. I feel like it's very reasonable to say 2-3 more wins. He should be able to get back in there. But yeah, maybe it's only 1. And hey, is your guy ready? And like Zach said, the DFT guys and gals are going to be ready.
Going off of Clayton too. Now, don't forget that there is another promotion that is new in MMA in Ohio too.
This is true.
It is Carnage Fight Series.
Oh. The only new promotion in Ohio.
Zach about to drop some breaking.
The only new promotion.
Breaking news, everybody.
He's like, surprise! I can tell you the contract details.
Hey, you don't know. Could be us. You don't know. You won't know until it's announced.
Wow.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, speaking of that, we do have a show coming up March 22nd. So you guys know that. So, Pro-Am in Ottawa, Ohio. So we will get you guys more information on that when we get a little bit closer, but look forward to that. We've got 4 pro fights, I believe we've got on that, Wade.
Got a future UFC fighter.
Yeah, we've got the guy. The guy is going to be there. So undefeated, has not lost a fight in his amateur or pro. So that boy, if he keeps on winning, I can see by the end of the year him making maybe the Contender Series.
Yeah. Yep. Shout out Quentin Richards, the guy.
I'm blown away that like an LFA hasn't picked him up yet. Like, you know what I mean? We're very grateful, obviously, to have him on our show close to home. You know, that arena will be packed with, you know, people supporting Q.
Oh yeah, it'll be packed. The arena is going to be jam packed. I can tell you that right now.
How do you you look at a guy, he's 9-0 in his MMA career across the Ammon Pro. How does I just don't get it, man. How do you not look at that guy and be like, okay, let's open up our next pro show with him?
Mm-hmm.
You know how hard it was to find a guy for him?
Oh, impossible, I'm sure.
We had to get a guy all the way from across the country just to fight him.
Yeah. That makes all the sense in the world. I wouldn't want to fight the guy. You kidding me? If I'm another up and comer against a guy who's never lost, that's a hard sell.
Yeah, it is.
For sure.
Well, do you know what's even harder to find? 125ers. When you get me started on that one, all right? That's just, I want to pull my hair out. See, that's why I got no hair. Looking for 125ers.
Have you suggested any 135ers that they pull their hair out? That might get you there.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, and then we are moving on to the next UFC Fight Night. I will give you guys, I can say song. I know that one, song.
Yeah, main event, Henry Cejudo, Triple C, worst retirement in MMA, but we can move on from that.
Yes.
Facing up-and-comer Song Yadong. Just kind of a guy, I believe he's 12-2 in the UFC or 10-2, something like that. He doesn't have that win yet. You know what I mean? He has a loss to Piotr Jan and he has a loss to Corey Sandhagen. Like those are two very respectable losses.
Yeah.
And I feel like if he beats Triple C, we won't be calling for Song Yadong title, but we'll be calling for Song Yadong moving up, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on what Henry Cejudo we get in my mind. He's 38. He's dropped his last two. Shouldn't really be considered a dig.
Yeah,
they were two, Aljamain and Merab.
Yeah.
Like what are we supposed to do about that, right? So I don't know, guys. I have a hard time picking a 38-year-old little guy. I really do.
Yeah, you're seeing like his fall off right now. There's like he wants to get it back. Like you said, horrible retirement. He retired in his prime and
garbage.
If he would have just kept going and then stopped now,
he'd be fine. But he tried to leverage the UFC with publicity that he didn't have to try and get more money.
Yep.
Good one, bro. You disappeared for 3 years and nobody missed you, dude. Like, I hate to be that guy, man, but that is the dumbest retirement I've ever seen. I would almost argue in any pro sport.
Yeah.
Because, like, example for football, when Barry Sanders walked away, the team was trash and he wasn't going to go anywhere. Walk away while you still have your knees and your brain. I get it. But, like, this one, I'm going to make more money. You are not John Jones. You are not Connor. Like, no. That's not how this works.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's great. Like, his fight IQ is crazy. I watched him breaking down fights and stuff like that. But when he gets in there, the thing that annoys me the most is he fights with his chin up.
It's because he's a wrestler.
Yeah,
there's wrestlers.
There's a bunch of wrestlers that fight that don't put their chin up like he does.
It's almost like he dares you to hit it.
Because he's a wrestler.
You know what I mean?
I'm just gonna blame it on he's a wrestler. All right, he doesn't know how to stand up and fight. He likes to roll around on the ground.
Sure, he's not just a Notre Dame fan.
I'm gonna tell all the wrestlers.
He's not Sheamus. Okay.
Randomly double leg you now, Zach. I see you out in the street, double leg.
That'd be so funny. Oh my gosh, Kev, you got to be like inside of the restaurant, like in the window where that happens, so that we can get a really good video for that.
I gotta be careful. Is what I gotta be. I have to keep a hat on at all times. The number of times people have come up to me at events thinking I am Zach, it's scary, especially if we're both wearing a vest. Like if we're both wearing like dark pants, white button down vest combo, man, dude, one of these days a promoter's going to tell me something. I'm going to get a cool piece of insider info because they're going to be like, "Hey, Zach, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Well, that's not me, pal." But hi.
I can confirm this. I was sitting with you one time at a show, and somebody comes up and taps you, and then you look over, and they're like, "Oh, you're not Zach." You're like, "Yeah, not Zach."
It's over there somewhere.
But yeah, going down, we got Brandon Allen versus Anthony Hernandez. Number 9 going against number 12.
Hey, that's Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Wade, thank you.
Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Who you got here?
I like Fluffy, and that's not a dig on Brendan Allen. That's not because the sportsbook has him at plus 245 right now. That's not why. I have Anthony Fluffy Hernandez because he owns a win over Brendan Allen already. These two fought at LFA 132 like 10 years ago for a belt.
Wow.
And they're both now back here. Fluffy's 31, Brendan Allen's 29. So you need to start hitting the gas if you're either guy. Fluffy was recently ranked. He's got a couple of wins here in the last couple months. He knocked out Michel Pereira. That was his last win. And then I believe he submitted Roman Kopylov. And then he knocked out Edmund Shabazian, the guy that just fought Dylan last weekend, was his last win. He's won 5 straight fights, including Josh Friend. Does have a win over Josh Friend, Zach's favorite fighter. So, because of that, and again, this is not a dig on Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen has his coming off a loss against Nasruddin Imavov. The guy's on fire right now. So you can't really hold that against him. But before that, he had a bunch of wins in a row. He submitted Paul Craig. That's a huge deal. Paul Craig's great on the ground. Split decision win over Chris Curtis. Submission win over Christoph Jotko. Submission win over Smiling Sam Alvey. He's not in the UFC anymore, but he was one of Dana's favorite guys. So it's kind of fun to say. This guy's body of work is really good. He fought Eric Anders too, another UFC middleweight in the LFA. That's kind of funny. But these are two great middleweights. I like Fluffy Hernandez here, strictly because he has a win over him. I think that they're pretty even. Obviously, I think Brendan Allen's probably going to be a little bit better on the ground, but overall, very, very even. I like watching both fighters, but give me Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Fight goes the distance.
Oh, going the distance.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going Brendan Allen. Ooh. I think he gets his revenge.
You're just trying to be a rebel, aren't you?
That WWE storyline. I see they're finally like a blend. TKO starting to become one entity. They're like, it'd be cool. Let's get a rematch from 10 years ago in the Indies. I love it. I'm going with Clayton on this one though, but I respect the contrarian in you.
I'm going with Fluffy. Fluffy.
Yes. Fluffy. Greatest nickname in combat sports. Yusuf Zalal has been uprooted. The Moroccan Devil, Fluffy.
I don't know. I've heard some pretty good amateur ones.
Yeah, hit me. What you got? Hit me. Name one better than Fluffy.
I can't repeat it on
all right,
here.
Never mind. That makes sense. I heard.
Okay, I need to hear that one.
There was one. I think he was from Kentucky somewhere.
Because I'm pretty sure one of you guys have said it too, and you're like, I don't know if I should have said that on. I'm like, it's on pay-per-view. It's all right.
Yep.
Wait, you know who I'm thinking of?
Oh, absolutely.
I don't. Who's the fighter? If you say the fighter's name, I'll know.
Juan
Silva, right?
Yeah, Juan Silva.
Okay, never mind. That's my bad. I don't know. Let me look it up.
I don't know I don't know if that name is on Tapology, but that's what he makes us call him. That's what he gets called to the ring every single time.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not saying that. Yeah.
Shout out to ring announcer Mike Bennett, who has to say that
Mike
name.
Bennett's got no fear. He's just like, whoa, let's belt it out
with
there.
your chest. And I'm over here like, yeah, and Silva is a...
You say that name, you might get canceled.
Not today.
But moving on, we got Rob Font.
Hey, before we move
9.
on, though, greatest amateur nickname I've ever seen, dude from Kentucky, Trailer Park Bad Boy. Hilarious. Trailer Park Bad Boy. I can't remember who it was, but I remember seeing that on Tapology once. Anyway, moving on. Had to get that one in there.
I'd read for that.
We got Rob Font versus Sean.
We're gonna go with Jean.
Jean. I'm going with Jean on this one.
It's hard to argue with 16-0. It's hard.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It's at catch weight.
Is that a catch weight?
Yes.
Yeah, they don't want to make. They probably couldn't convince Matsumoto to cut the weight. Dominic Cruz pulled out a couple weeks ago with an injury, retired, and this is his replacement.
Yep, catch weight at 140, and yeah, it's hard to argue with 16-0.
Yeah, like what do you want me to do here?
I mean, Rob Font's been in there with the best. He's a true veteran, but hard to argue that 16-0.
Yeah, and just with Font, theoretically, he's 37 right now. But
yeah,
this is just a thought that popped into my head. Would having a full training camp that late almost be a disadvantage if you're going up against a younger guy?
No.
You don't think?
No. You want that full training camp, even at that age.
Fair enough.
Now, you might want to lay back on the strikes. Definitely wear your headgear if you're not, but you want it longer because you want to make sure you got that cardio to keep up with someone who's younger than you. That would be the whole point, is keeping your cardio up. So even if you're not hitting hard and full on goes, and you're just kind of doing like flow through sparring, so you're going through the motions, you're not really making a whole lot of contact. For someone that age, that would be perfect. Obviously, you still need to get those live actions in, but you limit them to a couple times a week.
More of that conditioning.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough. I was just thinking that because there's a 12-year difference here. That is huge.
Now, I'm not saying you don't take yourself a nice break the week before the fight. You know what I mean? And you take yourselves, let's keep a nice rest. There's no live action going, which you shouldn't be anyway the week of. Most people are done with their live goes 2 weeks out, basically. That within that second week, So that's normally when they do it. At least the camps and stuff I've been involved in, we've always stopped that week of no full contact, more of going through pad work, shadow boxing, just cutting weight basically at that point, that whole last week.
Moving forward, another fight that kind of jumps out to me is Alonzo Menafield versus Julius Walker. So Alonzo Menafield's been around, you could call him a staple of light heavyweight at this point. He's been around long enough. He's on a 2-fight skid, 2 KO losses, so that's not crazy ideal.
Is this going to be a heavyweight fight?
I don't think so. I think it's light heavyweight.
Well, Julius Walker is weighing in at 265 is why I'm asking.
Whoa. That's a big cut.
I have not tuned into his Tapology, but I have heard that he is a former basketball player, was a collegiate basketball player, I think at Missouri somewhere, some littler school in Missouri. And
this
made
is
the transition
debut.
to MMA from there.
Yeah, this is debut. The UFC website has him in at 225.5. So, I mean, that's 20-pound weight cut. 6'4".
Or is Alonzo going to jump up to heavyweight?
I don't think Alonzo.
It's a light heavy.
It is a light heavyweight. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd be too upset to not have to cut weight, but I do think they'll make him do it down to 205.
Yeah.
He's a big guy.
He's cut.
Yeah.
Alonzo's very cut. So, and you're saying, I don't even know what Julius Walker looks like. I'm wondering. He said he's walking around at 225. Then I mean, that's not that bad of a cut.
He's 6'4", 225, reach 79, and leg reach is 42. So
that's a good. That's a good size for light heavyweight at 6'4". That's actually a really good size. It doesn't give me his reach, unfortunately.
It's 79.
79. Okay.
Yeah. Alonzo is 76, so he's got a 3-inch reach advantage and a 1-inch reach advantage for legs. But this is his debut. He's 0-0-0.
Yep.
Yeah, but when it comes to these big boys, it's just because you
the right timing,
they're
shot,
raring to go, and they're like, they're just throwing because they're just happy to be there. Sometimes that's how those big boys can be. I love it.
And then moving on down, another fight that jumps out to me, we got Andre Fili versus, I'm not even going to try there, versus Costa from Brazil. Andre Fili's a fun fighter, man. He has a knockout loss to Dan Ige, but won a very close decision over Cub Swanson in his last fight.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very much so an Andre Fili fan. He's a little bit more of a stand-up guy. He's had, obviously, his ups and downs. 24-11, but I like Andre Fili here. I really do. I think he can kind of experience a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got that faster pace too. So
yeah, this one's pick him though. Like it's close.
Yeah, he's a plus 100. It has here on UFC.
And this Costa guy, he trains at Shootabox, where like Vanderlei Silva trained there back in the day. That's where Charles Oliveira trains now. Like that's a good camp. So
yeah,
this will be a good fight. I'm very excited for this one.
Yeah, it's going to be action packed. I think so. I'm looking forward to this fight as well.
I will say, boys, though, I am a little bit disappointed with the show this weekend. We were supposed to see Curtis Blades versus some new guy in the UFC, but that fight got moved down. And then we were also supposed to see Edson Barbosa this weekend, but didn't come to fruition. So regardless, this is the UFC's first trip to Seattle in a little while. So it's a live show. What more can we ask for, right?
Right.
Are they numbering these differently? Because wasn't last week's was UFC Vegas 102? So is it a different series when it goes to Seattle, or is it just going to be UFC Seattle 103? And then because they go right back to Vegas the next week.
I think Vegas has their own, since that's their like home base, and they do most of their fights there now. Like a lot of their intermediate fights there.
Okay,
I should say intermediate, but not pay-per-view.
Because they have I always want to call it the Performance Center because of WWE, but they have the training ground there in Vegas too, right? The whole big,
the PI and the
Apex. The PI. It makes sense that they would do a lot of stuff out of there, but I wasn't sure if it was. I mean, when you're doing a show every week, you might as well have a series within a series, right? You might as well be able to branch it out a little bit.
Why not?
Yeah, seriously, might as well. You know, I will say, guys, the Apex has nothing on good old Venue 18. I'll throw that out there. I'll take the bullet. Apex has nothing on. I would argue. I'll be real, guys. That's my favorite atmosphere that we work. It really is, because people are just on top of each other, yelling, screaming, cheering for their guy. Like
the energy is high there. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, Angola gave it a run for its money there, especially my very first time with the very enthusiastic drunk man that Dylan kept putting in the interview. I'll never forget that one.
Oh, yeah. Get him in here. Let's interview him.
That'd be so funny.
It was. It was quite a sink or swim moment for a rookie commentator.
And he loved every minute of it.
I was like,
yeah, he did.
It's pretty nuts.
Do you have a favorite venue that you ever fought at? Like, does any one jump out at you?
I mean, I like what is that? Was it the Coliseum that's in Lima? Not Lima. Marion, where it's how do I say it? It's kind of like the Cube. Okay. Big area like that. That's kind of to show you the atmosphere. So it's big. So there's a lot of seating there. Plus, it was my last fight before I went pro. So it was a jam pack. I mean, there was thousands of people there. So I think that was probably my favorite, just because there were so many people that was there. So
nice.
Makes sense to me.
Because I never fought at Venue. They didn't have Venue back then. Back then, it was Stacy's place in Fostoria. Is where we fought. Well, actually, I think I only fought at Stacy's place like once or twice, Wade. I'm trying to think. And then I remember my first fight was in a high school.
Me too.
High school gymnasium.
It was like Sycamore or something like
Sycamore, that's where it was. It was at Sycamore.
Yeah.
Man, we gotta clip that. That was a good one, Kev.
Oh yeah. I was at that fight.
He only came to my first fight. He was like, he's gonna win all the rest of them. I'm not even gonna go.
Yeah, you didn't need the support from there.
No. I needed him there for the Cube against Josh Frem, though. He didn't show up for that. That's why I actually lost.
Yeah, good one, Wade.
Thanks, Wade.
I had to work.
Yeah, sure you did. Sure you.
Well, speaking of things with Carnage Media, we got some stuff coming up in Carnage Media. Like this weekend, we have a free live event that we are going to be streaming here on YouTube that you guys go and check out. It's going to be grappling and striking, so boxing and mostly, I think, no-gi jiu-jitsu is what's going to go on. It's going to be inside of a cage. The benefit is to help raise money for Steve Yance. Steve Yance is a guy who has fought on some of the demolition fight cards that they've had, the boxing stuff. And he's a volunteer there at Venue 18, helping out with helping the shows, making sure things are good and ready for people to come. So they're throwing together. He got in a pretty bad car accident. So to help him get some money for his medical bills, they're throwing this event together. So we will have things up for you guys to donate to, and that if you guys would like to help out Steve. And then after this weekend, so what? This is the February 22nd. We then have a March 8th show, which will be at Venue 18. That is going to be a boxing show. What promotion is that? I'm trying to think. That is going to be round 9. So Ruthless Made promotion, round 9. That will also be on our YouTube channel. And then we'll have a boxing event March 21st in Upper Sandusky. It's the Harley Davidson biker brawl or something. I can't remember exactly what the name of that promotion is. March 22nd, we have Carnage Fight Series in Ottawa, Ohio. That is going to be MMA Pro-Am. We will have more information on that when we get a little bit closer.
Already getting some good names on there, folks. Keep an eye out.
It's going to be a good one. And then we've got some. At that point, we've got a lot of shows.
And we've got 2 shows every week for like 3 months. So.
Yeah, so we've got an April 12th show. That is going to be up in Toledo. I don't have full details quite on that one and who's all going to be involved on that one, but if it is what I think it is, I'm excited to do that one because there are going to be some heavy hitters on that Pro-Am boxing card, especially if it's up in Toledo, because Toledo is a home base for boxing. So you're going to have some big heavy hitters on that card. Then you've got April 19th. Is April 19th round? Is that round 10?
Yes,
I believe it is
round 10. That'll be the pay-per-view event. Yep.
And that's going to be a big Pro-Am pay-per-view event as well. And then we have an April 26th. I can't remember what that is. I just have all these dates and I don't quite remember this far out because I just have stuff written down. And then we might have another MMA show in May. A Carnage Fight Series show in May.
Oh.
So
is that in Ohio?
That is in Ohio.
Oh,
it is
interesting.
Crazy.
So yeah, isn't that crazy?
Well,
and
I know nothing. I'm just picking up breadcrumbs.
What crumbs? I don't know what you're talking about. Conspiracy? Conspiracy?
I'm just asking questions.
And so that's kind of what's going on with Carnage Media kind of going forward. And you know what that leaves us then after we talk about that stuff, right? I mean, that just leaves everyone's favorite segment, the Wrestling Minute.
We got to hear the guy who's been drinking a Red Bull at 8 p.m. We got to hear
I don't have any co-hosts for my next show, so I had to be
real. You
got to bring the energy next hour. Well, gentlemen, it's a WWE packed wrestling minute once again. The NXT brand kind of taken over this week. Now that they are in business with our beloved TNA Wrestling. Do you guys know what that stood for at the beginning? TNA? Can you guess?
TNA.
It's definitely not total nonstop action. Tits and ass wrestling.
Yeah, my
favorite. Bro, it's a swerve, bro.
That's awesome.
So the Jerry Springer era wrestling program is back. The Hardy Boys are a part of TNA, and they will be coming back to wrestle on NXT. They're going to be wrestling some of the
Hardy
young guns.
Boys.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about the Hardy Boys coming back to be on the WWE's minor league program?
That's kind of wild, dude.
Right?
Like I think I was telling you, I was watching an interview with Jeff Hardy in a ladder match. And he's going to reach for it up and forgot who he was going against, but he gets tackled.
Edge spears him. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Cope. His name is Cope now, Adam Copeland, but he shortened it to Cope.
Hold on. Is this guy running around with a skullet?
I think so. Yeah.
So he's rocking the skull. Is he just blonde on top? Sorry, I had to look up to see what they look like right now.
Anybody with a skullet?
Okay, it's just blonde hair. Okay, it's just
they look the same, except
it's just
that
blonde
now
hair up top and then really long down here. I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought he's rocking the skullet there for a minute. I was gonna be like, mad respect.
I'm a little disappointed
for having the balls to walk out with a skullet.
Cope has the mullet now, and Matt Hardy just has like a white streak in his hair, so he kind of looks like the Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's what I was referencing.
Yeah, okay. That's the one you're seeing. Yeah, some good stuff. So I have mixed feelings about it. On one hand, these guys are Hall of Famers. I don't have an urge to see them retire or anything. Jeff Hardy's a great recovery story for anybody who either, is an addict or was an addict and wants to see somebody who on live TV on a pay-per-view came out so wasted that they couldn't do a match. He was the main event of TNA Road to Glory, I think, 2011. It was a match against Sting for the title, and he was so fucked up that they had to send Eric Bischoff out there to cut a promo, and Sting just did his finisher, 1, 2, 3. All those paid customers, all those pay-per-view viewers just pissed off, dude. And he came back from all of that, right? Came back from his addiction. Now he's back as an old man. And so on the one hand, you like to see that guys are still able to go out and get paid to do this work, but to see him on the minor league show it's a bit like watching Ric Flair just refuse to retire and continue to try to sell tickets at 78. It's like, boys, don't
forget about his energy drink.
Woo! Yeah. I hear those mushrooms can crawl around with robot bodies now, so that's good. So to your health if you've had any of those. In other NXT news, former AEW star Ricky Starks, who potentially got fired because of some promos that cut a little too close to home about Chris Jericho and, again, the aforementioned Edge, Adam Copeland. There have been plenty of highlights of him just maybe being a little too mean to the soft-bellied former WWE stars. Well, he is now in NXT as Ricky Saints, which is just another great. There is a meme about how bad the WWE is at naming their characters. If you don't come in with your own good name from the indies, you are fucked. They took LA Knight, a guy who was over as LA Knight, and turned him into Eli Drake, a male model executive. Like, they come up with really, really awful names. I can't even remember. I don't even remember what the male modeling name for him was. Max Dupree, Maximum Male Models. That's what they were. Eli Drake was his old name. Yeah, Max Dupree of Maximum Male Models was what they turned LA Knight.
Job openings for naming people? Because I feel like I could do a lot better.
It's probably like a 3-person department in that. You know, like, they gotta justify that Netflix money.
Let's make it 2, and Kevin and I we will handle this. I promise you guys, there'll be nothing but great names coming out and great backstories.
Right. As long as you do the name, I'll do the backstories. I'll do my names. You do the backstory. Will be like alliterations every time. It'll be
a perfect combo. Trust me, you guys will love this.
Like, what in the 1980s is this bullshit? So on top of all that, we do have the final lineups locked in for the Elimination Chamber. One of these things is not like the other. We have former World Heavyweight Champions Damian Priest, CM Punk, John Cena, Drew McIntyre, Seth freaking Rollins, and then, of course, the only non-former champion in the lineup is that goddamned ass clown Logan Paul. Logan Paul will be in the Elimination Chamber for some reason. I've seen a lot of those memes. You ever seen the 3-headed dragon meme where one of them's a little derpy? Yeah. Yep. That's what's going on here.
Yeah.
Clayton is 100% right. It's going to draw some money.
The almighty dollar has a wild way of influencing stuff.
Have you checked out his series on HBO yet?
No, the one that we all got rug pulled into thinking was a fight announcement.
I'm deliberately not watching it. Screw that guy.
It's probably about as real as their beef with Connor on that bus. Did you guys see their fake fight with Connor?
Yeah.
And then there's an alternate clip of him sitting next to their mom, joking. Yeah. Where it's just like,
because then you had Theo Von saying that he needs to stay away from their mom so he doesn't hit on them. Hit on her or something. Theo Von, of course. Never a dull moment around that guy.
I will say there was some little bit of justice when it comes to wrestling fans and their hatred for Logan Paul. Logan Paul at one point had stated that he was hit on by WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton, someone who, if you guys haven't seen, check her out. She's a phenomenal athlete.
I see Wade going for that keyboard.
And let's just say there's a reason Logan pretended that she hit on him, right? It was trying to flex a little bit. Well, not only has she refuted that in a recent interview, she said that he came up to her, a former, I believe, Olympic gymnast, or at least an Olympic hopeful, a very talented athlete in her own right, that then became a WWE superstar, went through NXT, kind of did things the right way, right? Someone who's been in this career path for a while. Logan Paul comes up to her and says that, let me know. I'd love to teach you some things if you ever want any advice, if you ever want any tips, because I can see a little bit of myself in you. This is what she says that he said. And I think he phrased that a very specific way. And so she would, at that point, said, no, I don't think I'm like him at all. I think I'm much better than him. And Logan Paul would then report on his Impulsive podcast that Tiffany Stratton agreed to be on the show and then canceled last minute, almost as a nice fuck you for telling lies about me. She has been dating someone who's Ludwig Kaiser. She's been dating someone that is in the WWE that they met when they were in the minor leagues together. So like Logan Paul, just completely full of shit. He's our generation's Hulk Hogan, just a liar and a grifter who can sell a lot of tickets and
Hey,
this case,
Hulk
people
Hogan
wanna
now
see
has a
him beat up.
beer. Doesn't he have his own beer now, or he partnered with some kind of beer or something?
For now, they're being sued.
Oh, already? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, guys, did we not,
Zach wasn't here last week.
Zach, you weren't here last week. Hulk Hogan's getting sued because a lady went to one of his All-American beer events and got hit in the head with a full can of beer. And it was either Hulk or more likely one of the marketing ladies that they had hired because, Hulk's not throwing beer, brother. Come on. He's not doing that.
No, he's drinking it.
However, the WWE, in a desperate attempt to recoup some of their lost investment, is currently selling a box seat experience, guys, for WrestleMania for the low, low price of $10,000. You can go and enjoy both nights of WrestleMania in box seats, at which point Hogan will be there at certain point. They announce it, they advertise it as watch WrestleMania with Hulk Hogan, but if you read the fine print, it just says there is a meet and greet where you will get an opportunity. Don't wait till you hear this one. You will get an exclusive opportunity to take a photo with Hogan holding his championship belt. Phrased specifically because, wouldn't you know it, you will have to pay more money if you want to take a photo with that belt. You're not the 10 grand doesn't get you the photo. It gets you an exclusive opportunity to take that photo that the other broke bitches will not get, but you will still have to pay for it. Because Hulk,
I'm going to get my personal loan.
He's got to get his piece, baby, brother.
Again, this is America. Why are we suing over everything?
Yes, we're suing
because it's the American way.
Yeah, seriously. You got hit with a beer. So what? It's a free beer. Pick it back up.
Yeah.
Hey, people
cold.
make millions off of hot coffee.
You don't even need an ice pack.
Hold the beer to your forehead so your head calms down a little bit, and then drink the beer like an adult.
Yeah.
What are we doing here, people?
Pop an aspirin in there, you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly.
So there we have it, guys. You will not be seeing me for a week in April because I'll be hanging out with Hulk Hogan, slinging real American beers in a $10,000 patio.
That seat better be gold plated, dude. That's all.
I better get to take the seat home, right? I'm bringing power tools with me. That thing's coming out.
No, that makes sense.
Taking something with me.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Hogan's hitting me with a beer. He's gonna have another lawsuit. That's what.
Yeah.
For $10K, there's gotta be some investment involved,
right?
But that really is about it this week for the Wrestling Minute, folks. As we head into WrestleMania season, we are about exactly 2 months away. So we've got one more big pay-per-view, Elimination Chamber in Toronto in March. And then it will be WrestleMania time. So we will see if John Cena is going to get that opportunity at WrestleMania, or are they going to save it? There's rumored to be, or maybe confirmed at this point, a final pay-per-view. It's going to be, or a new pay-per-view called Ruthless Aggression that will take place in Boston, potentially in December. I think it's going to be John Cena's last match, hence why they're calling it the thing that he said, the first 2 words he ever said in a WWE ring, and having it in Boston, which is the one place where no matter what year it's been, John Cena never got booed. So there we have it. The Wrestling Minute.
Wrestling Minute. That wraps up this week. Clayton, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at cscalina12. And my podcast that I do on the side, Hot Take Sports Podcast, Hot Take Sports 16 on all of your favorite social medias. Kev, where can the people find you?
You can find me talking sports over on Bite Size Sports with the boys. Be sure to subscribe over there. We have done a lot of live streams over the years, getting back into some short form and video content. So check that out. And also, if you're a Star Wars nerd, come hang out with me in about 30 minutes while we talk a little Star Wars fan films and see if a bored dude in his bedroom with $120 and an AI video prompt can actually compete with the stalwarts over at Disney Plus. I don't know.
Probably.
We will find out together. Zach, where can they find you?
Making fun of Star Wars. No.
You'll fit right in.
No, you can find us on Carnage Media, anything there. YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, we're there. And once again, don't forget this weekend we will have free shows on our YouTube channel, so make sure to check that out. Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Hold on, let me double check on that. 7 p.m., not 7:30. It'll be 7 p.m. that we will be live. So check us out there. Enjoy some grappling and some striking. Wade, how about you, buddy? You're on mute, so we can't hear you.
Accidentally clicked that one. As Zach said, find us here at Carnage Media, PPV on YouTube this weekend, 7 p.m. I'll be behind the scenes on that show. Hope you just enjoy a free show and some good action for a good cause. And then head over on to carnagemediappv.com for any future events that we're going to be doing that we mentioned earlier in the show. So we thank you guys for watching. Until next week.
Like and subscribe, please and thank you.
Adios.